In this episode, special guest David Raiklen joins Golden and I for a spoiler-free discussion of Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. Full speed ahead. Welcome to the Omega Beam number 58. I'm your host, Oren Merton. And this time, friend of the show, David Raiklen, joined Golden and I to see Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker on opening night. We saw it in the Dolby Cinema, which is a theater with a huge ultra-contrast digital screen and just the best Dolby sound. It's the way to go. Reclining seats, it's one of those really comfortable theaters. Definitely worth it for this kind of movie. So anyway, we wanted to immediately jump in, give you our first impressions, but also make sure that this one is short, spoiler-free, because we know not everybody goes opening night. So this is our very short, less than 10 minutes, just us reviewing our initial impressions for you. Don't worry if you haven't seen it yet. We're not giving anything away. So let's get going. I am here with Golden and with David Raiklen. Welcome back, David.
Hey, it's good to be back.
And we're here talking about another phenomenon movie, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. So this is the quick spoiler-free one. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't worry. We're not going to give away anything that you haven't seen in the trailer, certainly. So,
well, maybe.
Maybe? Uh-oh.
No, not really. I mean,
who knows?
Nothing.
What we'll say.
Nothing more than. I'm not going to say anything specific.
Right. Okay. So, if you haven't seen the movie, if we're talking to people who haven't seen the movie, and they ask, "Hey, should I go see this?" What would you say?
I would say if you love Star Wars, you will love this movie, and don't think twice. You should go and see it as soon as possible.
Okay. Golden.
All those scenes that you love in Star Wars, any of the Star Wars movies,
are in this one.
It is basically the greatest hits scenes from Star Wars, all kind of rolled into one, and the scenes are redraped and recast. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff in there as well. It is visually stunning. The characters are entertaining. It's got its humor. It's got its drama. It's got its weepy moments, tearjerkers.
It does. I'm going to be really boring and agree with both of you. I think if you are a Star Wars fan, this is the tying the entire Skywalker saga up together in a bow, and you are not going to want to miss it. You're going to want to know how it ends. And I agree completely with Golden as well that this movie is a greatest hits of Star Wars past.
And you didn't read anything beforehand.
No.
I did go ahead and read a couple things, and I think knowing that going into the movie allowed me to let go of some expectations and just enjoy the movie for what it was.
Well,
okay.
I am very much. I want to see it fresh. So I didn't even see the trailers.
Okay.
However, a couple of days before the opening, they dropped the soundtrack. The soundtrack was released on Wednesday.
Huh.
And I listened to about half of that. And John Williams is Star Wars, and Star Wars is John Williams. And without him, it can
they are synonymous.
be in this Star Wars universe, but it's not the Star Wars that people have known and loved for 5 decades.
Right.
And when I heard the level that he was writing on, I knew that this was going to be a good movie, because you couldn't write that well unless the movie was also pretty darn good.
All the Star Wars movies, even the ones that I didn't particularly like, which were the first episodes 1, 2, and 3, the music has always really set the world in a way, and it has been amazing, and it is in this one as well. It really is.
Yes, and going back to Golden's greatest hits theme, what this is most similar to musically is The Empire Strikes Back, where it's done like an opera.
Mhm.
Every character and place that's significant has a theme, and the theme keeps getting developed in more and more dramatic ways. So it can be exciting, it can be tragic, it can be comical, all the different aspects of the character, all the different story beats are told in the music like you would in an opera.
Yeah.
But instead of singing, the people are talking, although there is a very creepy choir that does appear here. But I can't say more than that because it would be a spoiler.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think the music's always been incredibly powerful, and this one is as well. As far as polish goes, the Star Wars movies have always been incredibly polished, and this is no exception. The visuals are amazing. The acting
really
is very
amazing.
good.
This is
music is good.
This is
The pacing is really good. I mean, I think J.J. Abrams is nothing if not a master at sort of the pop culture attention span aimed pacing. It doesn't feel too slow. It doesn't race past scenes you want to linger on.
You gotta have your cutesy stuff in there too.
Yeah.
So you wonder if 42 years after the first Star Wars released. You wonder if they had to just make sure they got it in now, so they got that 42 in. I know it's a different franchise, but still,
it's what I'm sure
you got your sci-fi fans.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, and there were a couple of nods to other science fiction franchises in this movie.
Which you will save for the next.
That we'll save, but because they're Easter eggs. The movie is wonderfully entertaining without you getting all the little inside jokes. But yeah.
Although, when Robbie the robot showed up and said, "Danger, Will Robinson," that kind of threw me out of the movie. Just kidding.
He's making that up.
Yes. But there is no Danger, Will Robinson in the movie.
It's not Will Robinson. It's Ben Skywalker.
All the characters from C-3PO to Rose get their moments. And as we know from talking about the MCU mega franchise moment with Endgame, it's very challenging to write a script that gives good moments to many, many characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that here. So hats off to Chris Terrio and J.J. Abrams.
And if you like all of the different places that Star Wars has gone, all the different planets, don't worry, you get to visit them again.
Yes.
Although
all in one movie.
I don't think they went to Coruscant.
No, they didn't go to Coruscant. But they did go to an awful lot.
But they pretty much went to everything else.
That all made perfect sense in the context of the story. They had to go there for something that it made sense that would only be that place.
Yeah. All right.
And there's a new planet, too. It's not just greatest hits. There's also new things in here.
I think there's probably a couple new planets. I don't know.
Including the really heartfelt, weepy moments. That
I sat there in the theater wondering, what planet are they on anyway? And I mean, maybe it was mentioned in one of the prior movies exactly where they're at, but I'm like,
Certainly, the dog Kenya agrees with you, and so she wants to weigh in. Sound effects by our cavalcade of pooches.
Yeah, her way of telling us that her food dish is empty is to nudge it and then start barking if the nudging is not signal enough.
Well, I think we're going to then feed the dog. Thank you, Golden. Thank you, David. And we'll be back with a spoiler-filled podcast next time.
This is going to be the best Star Wars ever.
And that's it for this episode. You can find the show notes at theomegabeam.com/58. If you liked this episode, please leave a review in the Apple Podcasts app or wherever you listen to podcasts, because reviews really help people who might be interested in this kind of stuff to find it. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop us a line at info@theomegabeam.com. We're going to be back really soon with a nice, long, spoilerific panel discussion where we really dive in to Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. So until then, be good to yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.